Namaskar. In this lecture, we shall talk about higher virtues. These are called higher virtues because these are signs of nobility. There are 10 supreme virtues or Das Dharma which are recommended for spiritual aspirants like monks, sadhus. These virtues help purify our mind, they improve our conduct, and also assist in making spiritual progress. Out of these 10 which are prescribed for monks, I have selected 5, and I think these can be imbibed by householders or common people like us. The first one is Uttam Kshama, or forbearance and forgiveness. Most of us, do make mistakes in our lives. And, the mistakes are such that, it makes other people angry or makes other people annoyed. So there are various ways in which we are hurting the feeling of others. And maybe that people get angry. And we also get angry, it's not others. We also get angry many times. And this is mainly because of the conduct of the other people. What the other person or the person before us is doing, we don't like. I don't like, what he is doing or what he is saying, or I am hurt, by his speech and so on. So I get angry, and this happens very often, So either it is due to other people or due to the force of circumstances that I get angry. And when I get angry, I might react, in different ways. So the other people are hurt, and we are hurt by others, or hurt the feeling of others, is two-way traffic. So either I get angry or the other person get angry. Anger, is the enemy of happiness. If you want to be happy, you should control your anger. The anger destroyed the good qualities in you, and it destroys the quality of self-restraint and detachment. And when you get angry, you normally lose control of your mind, And you might be that you enter into arguments with the other person. And such persons many times may engage in misdeeds, you do something which you should not do. Or maybe, in extreme cases, people can commit crime. The person may rebuke you, or you may rebuke the other person, other party, and maybe that sometimes people get into physical violence because of the hot arguments. So there are various side effects of anger. What should one do in such a situation? If you come across this kind of situation where you are angry or the other person angry and there are hot arguments and you maybe just you are going to fight as if you are going to fight the two of you. The best thing under such situation is to maintain calm. You must inculcate that habit that whenever you come across such a situation, you should be able to maintain calm. Keep quiet, don't speak. And try to control your mind. This is forbearance, Forbearance means you are forbearing a situation which otherwise might agitate you, might irritate you, and make you angry. So if you are able to bear that, that is the quality of forbearance, and one must inculcate this kind of quality. Anger begets hatred, and hatred begets enmity, and enmity is the cause of sustained misery to all parties concerned. So anger is good for no one, neither for you nor for the other party. It hurts both, and it is harming both of you. This can be avoided by forgiving the other party. This is where the forgiveness comes in picture, that if somebody is at fault, suppose he is at fault, and you get angry, and so instead of getting angry, you please forgive him. He may be doing something which he also doesn't want to do. It's out of his mind that is acting that way. So there could be various reasons for this kind of behavior. So the best thing is to forgive this thing and don't take ill of it, in your heart. Jainism attaches great importance to this quality of forgiveness, So you forgive others. Shravaks means the followers, and monks beg forgiveness from all beings they might have hurt knowingly or unknowingly in their daily pratikraman. All monks and most of the Shravaks who are really serious about it, they have pratikraman daily, where they try to recollect what wrong they have done, what mistakes they committed in the day, and beg forgiveness from all these things, from all those who they know that they have hurt. But there are many you don't know who you have hurt, So we hurt many people unknowingly. This happens, and we are not talking of only of human beings, We are talking of all living beings, So you might have hurt not only the human beings, but the animals, creatures, insects, and so on. So we beg pardon, we beg forgiveness from all those in the pratikraman. This is a daily practice. Mark that forgiveness is begged not only from contacts, as I said, or other human beings, but all beings, down to one-sense beings, So when we beg forgiveness, we remember all our friends and contacts, which we might recollect that probably we might have hurt them. But besides that, because we unknowingly hurt many smaller living beings, smaller organisms, so you beg pardon, beg forgiveness from all those. The forgiveness must be unconditional. Many times it so happens, that you get a thought, you think that of course you must beg forgiveness from the other party. Then suddenly you could have, no, this person is very bad, He has never begged forgiveness from me, and why should I forgive him or her? That kind of thing, So you put a condition, for forgiving the person, that, if he or she begs forgiveness from me, then only I will forgive him. This condition is not correct. No, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody, So your forgiveness must be unconditional, irrespective of the fact that what she has done or he has done to you, what he is doing or she is doing, irrespective of that, you forgive him or forgive her. So this is the real forgiveness. The conditional forgiveness is not real forgiveness. Unconditional one, that is, let it be one-sided, does not matter, but you have done your job. So that is the kind of forgiveness we must have. The real forgiveness is unconditional. And this is known as Uttam Kshama. So Uttam Kshama, which is the quality of monks, but we must also imbibe, in our habit, in our day-to-day life, that we should be able to forgive the people who are doing some kind of fault or guilt or something like this. Forgiving others relieves the person of tension, of hatred and guilt, and brings peace of mind. There are many people, who remember these kinds of events, that he hurt me on such and such occasion, and then probably they maintain an account in their mind, and if this kind of account is maintained in the mind, it disturbs you time and again, and you get into tension. So it is harming you and nobody else, because you are under tension, you get into tension because of these memories, which you have of these such incidents, So this is not good. Forgive means, you forgive and forgive all those events and incidents, and please delete that account from your mind. No such thing in your mind. Otherwise these accounts will create centers in your mind, and your thinking will always be anchored around these centers, and you will always be thinking of these and be in tension unnecessarily. So best thing is to forgive them. Forgive and forget, that is the best policy. In practice, householders may not be able to observe forgiveness as rigorously as monks, but you certainly try to do it as much as possible. And this will protect us from revenge, hate, retaliation, and these kinds of things. Because if you react anger to anger, now there might be retaliations and many other harmful consequences of this kind of reaction and activity. In Jain tradition, Samvatsari is observed as a forgiveness day after the Paryushan. Each year in Chaturmas we have Paryushan days. So it could be 8 days in Swetambar tradition and 10 days in the Digambar tradition. At the end of the Paryushan, we have a forgiveness day, Samvatsari. So it's a tradition, and on that day we beg forgiveness from all our contacts, all our friends, all our relations. It's established tradition, Earlier, the people used to get cards printed, as you have Deepavali and New Year card. Similarly, the cards are also printed on Samvatsari day, right for this purpose of begging forgiveness, Kshamavani. So the cards, we used to send cards to all the people here. Nowadays, of course, that practice has changed. You have a mobile, you have a computer, internet facility, and so on, WhatsApp, and other social media. So maybe that you use the social media to beg forgiveness from others, and you must do it honestly. You must be honest, in your heart, not just by writing something or speaking some words. That does not help very much. When you forgive by heart, so that all those incidents and memories are deleted, and you are a tension-free person, you are a happy person. So you must always keep that in mind, that I am friendly to everybody, nobody is my enemy. It's the best phrase, you must always remember that. Forgiveness is the greatest virtue, if you can do that. Now there are two things. One thing which I have not told you is that you beg forgiveness and you forgive others, both way. Unless you forgive others, your tension will not be free, So you must forgive others and beg forgiveness from others, Both the things must happen simultaneously, and then only you will be tension free. So this is what is normally done. Forgiveness is the greatest virtue and most powerful arm in the human being. I mean, if you are forgiving the people who have done something wrong to you, that person will be so much grateful and obliged, and he will say, "Oh, you are a great person, although I have done such a wrong thing to you, and you excused me, you have forgiven me." So you make friends, you convert enemies into friends. Remember that. Take the example of Jesus Christ. He was crucified for no fault of his. He was crucified. So what he told to his followers, "Forgive them, Father." He told his Father, "Forgive them, Father. They know not what they have done or what they are doing." These are all innocent people. They do not know what they are doing. They do not know what is wrong and what is right. They just crucified Jesus for no fault of his. So but his heart, his magnanimity. He said, "No, don't do anything to them. Just forgive them because they are innocent people. They are ignorant. Not innocent, but they are ignorant." So you should take that kind of attitude or view whenever you get into that kind of situation. The second virtue we talked today is Uttam Madhav, or humility. That's a very good virtue again. Many people who are egoistic, they entertain various kinds of pride. I talked about 8 different kinds of pride, when I talked to you about Samyak Darshan. So a person, a Samyakdarshi person should get rid of 8 kinds of pride, I told you. So ego, is a big enemy of everyone, who has ego. His behavior will be entirely different from a person who doesn't have ego. So ego is an enemy of a good human being. You can never be a good human being if you are egoistic. And it does many harm to you. It prevents true knowledge, faith, and understanding. Why? Because you think that, you are somebody great. You are a great scholar. You are a knowledgeable person. And therefore you don't have an incentive or intention to learn more. So how do you get knowledge then, and you don't get faith. You don't get understanding. You say, no, I understand everything. I don't need your advice. This kind of thing egoist person will do. So egoistic person is harming himself, Ego prevents outlook, breeds rudeness and bad temper. You behave other people with rudeness, and you become rude to them, because you think you are a great person, you are a big personality, and so on. So you don't treat them well, you treat them with rudeness, and your temper, becomes something different, you are boasting, you become a kind of snob. So this disqualification or disqualities, are breeded by ego. A proud person becomes intolerant, and blind to goodness in others. So you don't tolerate anybody, because you are in a higher position. That's what you think, And so you don't recognize the goodness in others, You always think that you are good. So he indulges in self-adulation and belittle others, He thinks that, he always will praise himself, I am so and so, I am so and so. And so that, he thinks that other people are very small before him, belittle others, So that kind of attitude develops. He might demean others and invite anger and hatred, So he doesn't listen to them. He considers as if, they know nothing. And if that kind of attitude, you invite anger, they will be naturally become angry with you and they will hate you. If this kind of attitude, they will hate you. So you make more enemies. And he involves in fruitless dispute and makes enemies of others, as I told you. So because of these differences, maybe that you have a dispute with others, and you also get into arguments. And if you get into argument with others, probably you will rebuke them. So the answer to these tendencies is humility. Be humble. Humble means then your ego, you are not egoistic person, so you respect others, you respect their feelings, you respect their virtues. You think that he also is some good qualities, and I must respect those good qualities. Everyone has some qualities, and you must find out, you must think about the good qualities and forget about the bad qualities. So humility, humbleness is the answer. So a humble person is respected by society, he is respected by family members, he is respected by his friends. He is a humble person. And so you don't boast of anything, And develop a reverence for wise and virtuous people, and respect others. So there are many virtuous people, wise people. Please recognize those qualities and pay reverence to them, respect them, give them proper position, they deserve. Humility is the way to gain right knowledge and good conduct. So then only you can get good knowledge. A egoistic person is not in a receptive mood, He doesn't receive things, because he denies, he blocks the other's views and so on. So he is not in the receptive mood. He doesn't learn, so he doesn't gain knowledge. But a humble person is always in the receptive mood, He wants to learn, he wants to listen to other people, he wants to learn things. So he wants to receive things. He says, no, I am not a great scholar. I do not know many things, I know very few things. So he has got a desire, he has an ambition, or he has a taste for knowing more. And so he learns. So he gains right knowledge. Only a humble person can get right knowledge and can have a good conduct. An egoistic person will never have a good conduct. And if you are humble, the mind becomes free from prejudices and dislikes. Then you have a friendly relation with all these things. You are not prejudiced to anyone, and the thoughts become pure. Your mind will be calm, your thoughts will be good, and this enhances his dignity and practice. Then he will be a dignified person. Your prestige will go up. The people will think, no, you are a good person, you are a humble person. So prestige will go up, and the people will think that you are a dignified person. You don't have to think yourself, let others do it for you if you have these qualities. So I had talked today of two of the qualities, higher qualities, which monks are supposed to have. But as I said, we can also have these qualities, and because they are a sign of nobility, they will elevate our stature in the society and make us happy, bring us peace and calm of mind. And I think every one of us should try to have these qualities of forgiveness, humbleness, humility. I talked about these two. I'll talk about the rest three in the next lecture. Thank you.